Wow, that really is just so insane. I just never thought that my life would ever end up here.
Meghan Markle's latest interview is an extraordinary walk on the weird side. Frankly, fills me with concern for her hapless husband, Harry. If the petulant prince hated his past role as the royal spare, what must he feel about his current role as Meghan's spare?
You know, when someone lacks a clear sense of identity or direction, they start to lean on imitation. And Meghan is such a polarizing figure. She must think cosplaying Princess Diana will help her absorb some of the warmth people still feel for Di. But Meghan's Harper's Bazaar spread doesn't feel like inspiration. It feels like replication. The parallels to Princess Diana's Vanity Fair shoot are so deliberate that they come off as vulgar. And it raises real questions about how Prince Harry copes with seeing his wife recreate images tied to his mother's final years.
That in their cover feature, they actually screw you over in such dramatic fashion that you may end up being stripped of your royal title. That is just what's happened overnight.
Reading his wife's rambling, self-obsessed psychobabble in the new edition of Harper's Bazaar magazine.
Oh, all right, I've had enough. Clapping for herself. That last part was on brand.
I am sorry, but, and genuinely, I don't even mean to attack her. There was something frustrating about her.
She insists on being called or introduced to an empty room as Duchess of Sussex.
Not for long.
Why would you do that? That's not necessary. It makes you sound like really kind of into yourself in a way. It sounds fake.
It's her trying to look glamorous and dewy. The big eyes, the hand on her chin, the slow head turn. Oh, on the couch, on the settee, with the silk dress, staring into the camera like an ingenue, like an innocent.
What's going on here? This is weird.
You're trying to hang out with, and you're hanging out with the Kardashians. You're hanging out with people who have like sex tapes and show their vaginas on camera. You could be British royalty right now.
It's like she's playing a human being, like it's a performance.
Meghan Markle sold her soul to the devil to get a cover, not on Vogue, which is the one that she wanted, but on Harper's Bazaar. Oh, bizarre.
She kind of sold her soul to the devil. Obviously, she's always wanted to be an A-list actress. She never wanted to be a princess. I called out from the very beginning. She wanted to be amongst the A-list. If you don't like her, it's not your fault. It's because she's extremely unlikable, okay?
Well, I always thought she was ridiculous.
I mean, how could she tell this stuff and get away with it?
Oh my God, I can't even. These two, Meghan and Harry, are the worst.
Harper's Bazaar didn't just publish a glossy photo shoot. They detonated a public unraveling dressed up as couture. The moment Meghan Markle appeared on that cover, the internet didn't whisper. It didn't snicker, it screamed.
Meghan Markle's PR just keeps going further and further down into the abyss. She was recently featured on the cover of Harper's Bazaar, and I just don't understand the thought process behind this.
Because this wasn't elegance, this wasn't reinvention, this wasn't even Hollywood comeback energy. This was a woman trying so hard to control her image that the effort cracked through the airbrushing and spilled onto every pixel. Harper's Bazaar thought they were presenting sophistication. Instead, they accidentally dropped a spotlight on a narrative Meghan has been clinging to with both hands. A narrative that slipped, buckled, and buckled again until people started calling her what she has fought so desperately to avoid, the Duchess of Delusion. But here's the twist nobody expected. Harper's Bazaar didn't sabotage Meghan. Harper's Bazaar didn't shade Meghan. Harper's Bazaar didn't even try to expose Meghan. They simply pointed a camera at her, and the rest exposed itself.
This is a really, really interesting article by Harper's Bazaar magazine. I think Meghan thought it would be a softball interview, but the person that interviewed her has pretty much destroyed her reputation in this article, hasn't she?
Totally, but that's because she doesn't listen to what she's saying.
Because once you see what really happened behind that photo shoot, once you see the poses, the edits, the quotes, the desperate symbolism, and the moment she demanded to be introduced in an empty house like she was arriving at a coronation, you'll realize this photo shoot wasn't a celebration. It was a cry for narrative control gone disastrously wrong.
Ms. Markle, even when she's acting as a private citizen in New York City, hawking her wares in order to fund her over-the-top lifestyle, even in a private apartment, she is introduced by the staff as the Duchess of Sussex.
Let's start at the beginning, where the glossy pictures already showed something deeply wrong. From the first glance, something was unmistakably off. Not confusing, not odd, off. Like the photo shoot itself was fighting for oxygen. Meghan appears on the cover looking, well, not like Meghan, not like her Hollywood version, not like the global figure she markets herself as. She looks like someone fed her image into an AI generator, hit smooth to perfection, and then blurred it again for good measure.
She doesn't look good. She looks sad. She's makeupless, which I'm sorry, but it's not good. She needs some eyeliner. The eyes are too close together and she looks forlorn.
And what happens next is where things get crazy. Insiders claim the editing team used every tool available. Blur, soften, liquefy, erase, stretch, polish, flatten, brighten. By the time they were done, her face had the glossy texture of a marble countertop. Smooth, cold, and untouched by reality. Wrinkles gone, natural lines deleted. Skin texture was missing in action. It was digital renovation, not photography. And then came the poses. And oh, did the internet feast.
Meghan in general feels overworked, overthought, and like she's trying too hard. That's how it always feels with Meghan.
At one moment, she's standing stiff as a scarecrow trying not to blow away. In another, she's planted in the now infamous flipper stance. Feet splayed so wide it looked less like fashion and more like someone preparing to paddle a canoe through emotional turbulence. Even the photographer seemed confused. Pretend you're, dramatic? She delivered something closer to mall mannequin trapped in a tax audit.
Meghan just wants attention. She just wants attention. She just wants to have her photo taken. She wants to be on the cover of magazines with no substance.
Going to get so much more crazier than that, okay?
This wasn't glamour. This wasn't reinvention. This was a distress signal wrapped in couture. And the worst part, this was only the surface level chaos, because buried under the awkward poses and Photoshop overload was something much more unsettling. A tribute so deliberate, so forced, and so uncanny that even fashion editors whispered nervously about it. And that's where everything takes a darker turn. Here's where the whole thing shifts from embarrassing to haunting. Sources close to the shoot claimed Meghan styled herself to evoke Princess Diana, not subtly, not symbolically, not tenderly, but blatantly.
Cosplaying Princess Diana, she's taking stalking to the next level. This woman looks rough, completely airbrushed. Her face is unrecognizable. I thought it was AI for a moment.
The hair, windswept, tousled. I just rolled out of a meaningful charity event energy. Except insiders say it took 2 full hours of curated effort to look that effortless. The eyes, soft, sad, the classic Diana humanitarian gaze she perfected naturally. A gaze the world trusted because it came from real experience. Meghan's attempt? It looked like someone practicing empathy in the mirror. The wardrobe, loose silhouettes, emotional softness, gentle blouses, Diana-esque trousers, every element tugging at nostalgia, like a child pulling on their mother's dress hem, begging for attention. Editors whispered she had entered her Diana performance era, not as a tribute, but as an identity.
Yeah, Harper's Bazaar did a video of Meghan's photo shoot. If you look at some of these poses, we'll show you some comparisons in a minute, which are really, really disturbing. This woman is trying to be Harry's mother. She's trying to be Princess Diana. And that is worrying, I think. Now, look at this.
Oh my God.
There's one comparison.
So,
here comes another. Let's have a look at that one, shall we? Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Which one's which?
Look,
for those listening, it's the same outfit, the same pose, the same everything. It's actually
the same look in the eye. That's where she's.
There are
skills,
about 5 or 6 poses in this big photo spread in Harper's Bazaar. If you go back in time, Meghan is simply recreating former photographic poses by Princess Diana.
Fashion insiders couldn't decide whether it was cosplay or character study. Whatever it wasn't working. Diana's power was never manufactured, never curated, never algorithmic. It was raw, it was human, it was real. Meghan's shoot tried to force that energy into existence, and the result wasn't nostalgic. It was confusing. Instead of elegance, it felt artificial. Instead of capturing Diana's legacy, it spotlighted Meghan's desperation to borrow what cannot be recreated. But if you think that was the peak of the chaos, wait until you hear hear what happened before the shoot, the behind-the-scenes scramble that showed exactly how badly she needed this cover. Because this wasn't just a photo shoot, it was a last resort, and the way she fought for it, that's where this story explodes. Multiple industry whisperers confirmed the same thing. Meghan didn't grace Harper's Bazaar. She didn't simply accept the offer. She pursued it hard. Sources say she went to Vogue first, the ultimate pinnacle, but she didn't want a standard feature. Oh no, that wasn't big enough.
Meghan Markle sold her soul to the devil to get a cover not on Vogue, which is the one that she wanted, but on Harper's Bazaar. Oh, bizarre.
Meghan reportedly wanted a co-cover with Princess Catherine, imagining herself standing shoulder to shoulder with the future queen in a power duo moment. It was shut down instantly, not delayed, not reconsidered. Shut down permanently, because insiders say Meghan demanded full creative control. The layouts, the lighting, the styling, the narrative, the way Catherine would appear beside her. She expected royal-level treatment without royal-level public backing. She burned that bridge so quickly, Vogue didn't even bother salvaging the ashes. So when Vogue was off the table, she pivoted fast. Not to a top-tier fashion crown jewel, but to Harper's Bazaar. A respected magazine, yes, but not the empire she originally wanted. And here's where her expectations collided with reality. Harper's Bazaar did not treat her like a global phenomenon. They treated her like a celebrity trying to revive a fading brand. And the final product, the photos, the poses, the edits, the Diana symbolism, didn't restore her image. It stripped away the illusion she'd been clinging to.
But memo to the top team at Harper's Bazaar: just because Her Montecito Majesty vomits pretentious semi-English gobbledygook, there's no need for you to follow suit.
But nothing, not the airbrushing, not the cosplay, not the Vogue rejection, compares to what happened next. Because the most telling Meghan moment didn't happen on camera. It happened in a silent house with no audience. And what she demanded there, oh, that's where the entire facade splits open. Picture this, a beautiful brownstone on the Upper East Side. Quiet, empty, peaceful. Just Meghan and one house manager. No guests, no staff, no audience, no crowd. Yet the moment she steps inside, the house manager steps forward dramatically and announces to no one, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex.
When I enter, the house manager announces, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, even though we appear to be the only other two people in the house.
In an empty room. No ceremony, no gala, no royal event. Just walls, air, and Meghan's shadow stretching across the hardwood floor. It's weird, I know. According to sources, Meghan requires her title to be announced wherever she goes, even when it's unnecessary, awkward, and borderline theatrical. This wasn't grandeur, this wasn't respect. This was a woman desperately clinging to a title she claims nearly destroyed her, gripping it like a life raft in a sea of slipping public relevance. Royalty doesn't need to announce itself. Royalty is known. But Meghan treats the title like a passport to importance, terrified that without it, she becomes just another person in the room.
Why does she need to be announced like that? Like, the Duchess of Sussex? Who is that? Who is she?
It's ridiculous. Stop it, okay? This doesn't even make sense to me that she would even think that she deserves this title.
Meghan is clinging hard to this Duchess title.
And if the photo shoot showed her obsession with image, this empty room announcement exposed her obsession with identity. But the interview, the interview revealed something far darker. The Harper's Bazaar article didn't read like empowerment. It read like a woman editing her own Wikipedia page in real time.
Stop everything. You're not going to believe me because it is a never-ending saga, a never-ending strange tale.
She said she was ready to tell her story again, as in another version of the same tale she's repeated across books, documentaries, podcasts, press tours, speeches, interviews, leaks. Sources say stories she definitely approved. She claimed she was always the smart one, despite a public archive of verbal slip-ups, timeline mistakes, and contradictions that could fill a dissertation. She said she learned from her past mistakes while repeating them right there in the feature. The dramatics, the self-praise, the polished victim tone, the martyr glow. It felt rehearsed. It felt strategic. It felt like PR cosplay. By the end, Meghan didn't sound empowered. She sounded exposed, narrating a self-image that no longer matches reality.
Meghan would show a lot of humility and make herself more likable to actually acknowledge some specific mistakes and some things that she has learned. Even if it was, I learned to be more careful about what I say about people and about family members because the Oprah interview, that was a mistake.
But the most jarring part wasn't how she described herself. It was how she described Harry. And trust me, that's where the real cracks show. When Meghan talked about Harry, it should have sounded romantic, supportive, genuine. Instead, it sounded like preparation. She didn't say she loved him. She said he loves her more than anyone in the world. She said his love is bold, full, and devoted. She praised him like someone listing character witnesses before a trial. Industry insiders recognized the tone instantly.
She talks about how much he loves her. Nothing about her love for him.
She waxes lyrical about just how much Harry loves her, how his love for her is bold, how no one in the world loves her more. But there's no mention of her love for him, if indeed it even exists. You get the distinct impression that the difficult Duchess is so consumed with herself that there's no room in her narcissistic world for anyone else.
This is what people do when they're setting emotional stage lighting before a major shift, aka damage control in advance. It felt less like affection and more like drafting the opening lines of a future breakup statement. Look, I said he adored me. I said everything was perfect. So if things fall apart, I'm the surprised one. She praised his devotion. She never mentioned her own. That wasn't romance. That was narrative engineering. And the more she spoke, the clearer it became. Her words weren't meant for Harry. They were meant for us, the audience she wants on her side, the public jury she plans to appeal to, the narrative she hopes will shield her from blame. Whether the marriage survives or not, the Harper's Bazaar interview exposed something she never intended to show. Her grip on the narrative is slipping, and she knows it. By the time the photo shoot, the interview, the poses, the gum, the Diana cosplay, the Vogue rejection, the empty room title announcement, and the marriage comments all collide, a pattern becomes impossible to ignore. This wasn't reinvention. This wasn't empowerment. This wasn't leveling up. This was a mirror Meghan tried to shape, only to watch it reflect back the one thing she never wanted the world to see. A woman fighting desperately to hold on to a story that no longer believes in her. Harper's Bazaar didn't expose Meghan. Meghan exposed Meghan. Now I want to know what you think. Was this a strategic rebrand, or the moment the narrative slipped out of her hands? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And before you go, hit like, tap subscribe, and ring the bell, because the media won't cover this part, but I will. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to check out some of my other videos on the top of the screen. Until next time, stay tuned, stay safe, and stay informed. Only on Tea Time with Tina.